Hey, Baker, you guys are getting a lot of praise nationally, and you yourself are getting a lot of praise. Do you guys have to guard against distractions with all this going for you?
Um, I would say yes, but this team didn't listen to it when everybody threw us in the trash. So, no.
Thanks, Jeff. Next is Jake Trotter.
Yeah, Baker, speaking of distractions, you guys are very much alive in the AFC North conversation. How do you block that out in, week 17, what's coming, and focus on the Jets this week, especially when you already got, the distraction of it being a holiday week as well?
It goes back to, the stuff that I mentioned about a singular focus, 1 week at a time. If we handle our business, I know I said this weeks ago, we'll be where we want to be. So we can't control whatever happens. Obviously, yeah, I mean, we know what's going on the outside, but we just have to take care of business this week.
Thanks, Jake. We'll go to Tom Withers.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Baker. Coach was saying earlier that you put the tape on and you see that this is a better Jets team than maybe their record shows. What do you see out of their defense, Baker?
Yeah, they play really hard, to be honest with you. Up front, I know Williams is out, but they're pretty stout up front. They're different than the Giants front. The Giants have some bigger guys, some anchors. These guys are a little bit more speed rushers and powerful, but they play really hard. They fly to the ball. You can tell that they want to bully you. They want to play physical ball, and it was very apparent when you called them at the Rams Stadium.
It's pretty unique. You guys are going back to the same place where you just played a couple of days ago. Does it give you some kind of advantage? I mean, I know there's a comfort factor and just kind of knowing the environment in general.
A little bit. I mean, we know how we have to handle it with no fans, just the quietness of the stadium. Just going there with that same mentality. It's us against them, and we just have to do our job.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tom. Mary Kay Cabot, you're up.
Yeah, Baker, since this will be the only time this week we will be talking to you, before or right around Christmas, I'm just curious to know, where does this Christmas kind of find you in terms of, you're providing Browns fans with so much joy this holiday season. You're in such a much better place, just the way that you're playing than, even if we look back to last year and where you were at this time last year. So, just kind of wondering what will you be thinking of, joyful for, and where does it find you?
I mean, it's been a tough year on everyone, been extremely different. A lot of ups and downs and trials and tribulations that everybody's had to deal with, but just be thankful for family. I know I can't exactly get with them and be all together, but just blessed and thankful that my family's been safe, and continuing to pray for those outside of my family that are dealing with issues and sickness and all that's going on in the world. So it's been a tough year. So I think just having a little quiet time at the house is going to be great, and just to make this extended push, because this will be the first time that, I'm not planning off-season trips as soon as New Year's Day hits. So it's a different year all around, and just taking it one day at a time, quite honestly.
But what about the notion of just the Browns? Do you feel it? Do you sense the happiness, even though nobody's really able to be out and about everywhere? But I mean, are you sensing just the joy that you are bringing to this city this year?
In some ways, yes, but in others, no. I mean, it's obviously not the typical year protocol. Can't go out to restaurants and hang out and be around the town. And obviously, there's no tailgating and not as many home fans or fans at our home games. So it's just different. You can kind of sense it, but I don't think it's the full effect.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Anthony Postol will have our next question.
Hey, Baker, I know you've given a lot of credit to the whole offensive line this season, but I wanted to hone in on Joel and JC in particular. How much have they meant to that group as the top two veterans from your perspective, and how important has their consistency, both in their play and durability, meant to you over your 3 seasons here?
Yeah, I mean, having familiar faces is always great, because you have that open line of communication. Some things, are just understood where you don't have to speak on it, but they lead that room. They're smart players, very different, but both good players. So JC, obviously getting everybody lined up, making the calls, and Joel's the more vocal leader, shall I say. They just do a good job of continuing to do that. But I mean, it is the whole offensive line, though. I mean, you have Wyatt Teller that's been down. Chris Hubbard steps in, unfortunately gets hurt, and then Nick Harris steps up. I mean, and then Kendall Lamb's come in for snaps when Jack Conklin has gone down, or Jedrick. So, I mean, it's just that whole group, they're really playing for each other and playing for this team, and I truly do appreciate every single one of them.
And, you know, obviously thanks to them and the rest of the offensive line, like you pointed out, your average time in the pocket has gone up by almost a half a second this season. How important has that extra fraction of a second been in helping your comfort in the pocket this year?
I mean, that's a pretty analytical stat, but I mean, you talk about some of the play action, the rollouts, the setup, deep shots. I mean, that just goes for a whole offense, being on the same page, establishing the run game, being able to formate things and make our run game look like, or our pass game look like our run game, so we can hold on to the ball longer. Teams can't, you know, tee off on us when we have our cadence mixed up. So it's just a whole offensive thing, and then obviously offensive line and protection has been great, just straight up in the drop back game.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony. Nate Ulrich is next.
Baker, I was actually going to ask you about the line too, in that looking back at the game, you were right by Chris Hubbard and you put your hands on your helmet right away. How much do you feel for him going on IR, and what did he mean to you guys this season?
Hub's a guy that I don't think anybody would have a bad thing to say about him. Quite just that's the truth. He's a great team guy, good family man, great leader. Just truly works his ass off, and you never want to see that. You don't want to see that happen to anybody, but it especially hurts when it's a guy like that. If it's a team player stepped up and played multiple positions for us and done a lot of things, and just a great representation of this franchise. So I hate that for him, but when we talked, he's going to come back stronger. There's no doubt about that.
And Coach told us Monday that, you know, Wyatt is likely to miss the game against the Jets, so Nick Harris would be the next man up there. Looking back at the tape, what did you think of Nick when he had to come in there in a pinch, and what's your confidence level in him?
Extremely high. I mean, for a guy that really doesn't get a lot of reps at guard, to come in and play like that, to play like that, but then be able to do a job where he's not exactly practicing those reps. He's practicing center techniques and different, essentially mechanics on each play. So to be able to, you know, reframe his mind in the middle of the game and be able to do that, that takes a lot. That's not to go understated. So we're very proud of Nick, and just that experience that he keeps building is going to only help him more.
Thanks, Nate. Scott Petrick is next.
Hey, Baker, you said before that the team from this year to last year is night and day. Would you say the same about your performance?
Obviously, not turning the ball over helps. I just say that it eliminated a lot of negative plays. You know, I said my job is to get the ball out quickly, get it to the playmakers, and put us in position to win. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of differences, that's for sure.
And Coach Stefanski said, with you playing so well, he hasn't seen any change in you whatsoever. Would that always have been the case? Were you always kind of able to keep from the highs and the lows?
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I tried to learn early on. Obviously wasn't able to do that last year, but it's very important. You know, you don't want to change. You want to be the same leader each day. I saw a quote of somebody from Tampa talking about Tom Brady. It doesn't matter how good he's playing or if it's not going well, he's always the same person. So that's important to be a leader. It's during the good stuff, they're always looking up at you. During the bad stuff, they're going to look at you as well. So it's key to find that medium.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Dan Lobby is next.
Hey, Baker. We've talked to you guys a lot about how hard this year has been, from, you know, doing stuff virtually, kind of doing things differently. Has there been any benefit, though, to kind of how you guys have had to do things? Have you discovered anything that's maybe been better or easier?
I would just say that with all the schedule changes and everything, we've become extremely adaptable. That, you know, when adversity hits or something changes that you're not expecting it, we don't flinch. And I think that's pretty key for us when it comes to game situations, that you don't flinch, you just move on to the next thing, and that's always the most important.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Jake Trotter, you're up.
Yeah, Baker, when it comes to quarterbacks in the NFL, you know, especially former, you know, number one picks, there's always this hyper focus on the long-term future of that player. You know, your fifth-year option is going to be on the table this offseason. You're going to be extension eligible. Before the draft, it really seemed, especially at the combine, that this is where you wanted to be, Cleveland. has that feeling evolved in any way over the last 3 years? And then especially given the way this season has gone for you and the team, playing in Cleveland for the Browns.
No, I said it a few weeks ago. Growing up in Texas, in a extremely football town, then going to Oklahoma, and obviously it's a football state as well. And then coming here, it feels like home. So, but I'm worried about Sunday against the Jets. I think everything happens for a reason. I'm not going to be able to control that. So, one day at a time.
Thanks, Jake. To Zach Jackson next.
Baker, just curious, are you into Christmas music or do you only listen to TLC?
Big Christmas music guy.
What's your jam?
Old school. I'm a Nat King Cole guy.
Okay. Thank you.
TLC is pretty good.
Thanks, Zach. We'll go to Mary Kay Cabot. We need to make this our last question for Baker.
Yeah, Baker, do you keep in touch at all with Sam Darnold? And even if you don't, do you in some ways kind of feel for what a quarterback that, obviously in your quarterback class might be going through, identify with the struggles of a difficult year? Maybe you have reached out to him. I don't know. Share with us if you have. But do you just kind of feel for what he's going through?
Yeah, I think the ups and downs of the past almost 3 years now of taking that step from college to the NFL, I definitely feel for what Sam's going through and has gone through. I'm not in his shoes, so no, I'm not there for the day-to-day stuff, but I know the responsibility and pressure that he's under. But you feel for him. You want it to work out. You don't want you don't want ill will. It's bad karma, but Sam's a good guy. And I hope for the best for him.